Today on Community Watch, I'm having a conversation with Rome City Commissioner Elaina Beeman, and very insightful, very sharp conversation. You don't want to miss this. Community Watch starts now. Welcome to Community Watch. I am so happy to have our guest with me today, Rome City Commissioner Elaina Beeman.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure being with you.
I know there's some high-powered city stuff we probably should be talking about, but I need to talk first about your time at what is now Georgia Highlands College.
Mm-hmm.
But what was then Floyd College, or were you there when it was Floyd Jr.
I
as well?
was, because I was.
I mean, I was too.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I feel a little better now because I know
Mm-hmm.
you're 28 years old.
Okay,
so.
I'll claim it.
And as I recall, you and your sisters pretty much ran that school.
We were very influential while we were there, yes. My sister actually crowned me Miss Floyd Junior College. She was Miss Floyd Junior College in '82, and I won it in '83. So, yes.
Well,
yes.
I have very fond memories of initially assisting
Mm-hmm.
Judy Sims
Oh, yes.
with the Black Awareness Society around that same time, early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Judy had young children at the
Mm-hmm.
time, and the organization, which was my memory of it was an organization that was extremely active,
Mm-hmm.
part of the student government, and she needed somebody to help her because she couldn't do some of the field trips and
Right.
after hours things
Mm-hmm.
because of her family, and so I was drafted, and
I know, you're the right person.
I
Uh-huh.
kind of am still doing that.
Mm-hmm. You're still the right person.
Still doing that.
Still the right
Well,
person. Uh-huh.
it was a great experience for me, but I have very fond memories of that
Mm-hmm.
organization, and I just wondered. I would like to think that what was Floyd Jr., then Floyd College, and now Georgia Highlands, was an important place for you and also, I guess, your sisters to
Mm-hmm.
be at the time.
Mm-hmm. So my
And-
mom graduated from Floyd Junior College, and she was sharing with us too that financially, she wanted to make sure that we were ready, financially and mentally, spiritually ready to be able to go off to college. So before I transferred to go to Jacksonville State University, Floyd College was my home. That was the school that birthed me. So I transitioned from high school there, but when we joined the Black Awareness Society, my sister was already there and involved with Ken and
Anderson,
Ken
yeah.
Anderson,
Mhm.
and I forgot the other young man that was there, but we all had a great time there, and they transitioned me into there. But we joined the Black Awareness Society so we could all feel like we had a voice. And Floyd Junior College had the reputation, which is now Georgia Highlands, as the friendliest campus in the South. So Ms. Sims was pushing equity, inclusion, and diversity. And we had a great time because that's when we were actually partnering with our sister and brother schools, Shorter and Berry. And we rotated activities. You remember we used to go on each one of the schools, and
Right.
We'd have activities and events. And so we had the intramural sports where we wanted to make sure that everybody on the campus had a voice or was included in something that was going on on the campus. And the Black Awareness Society gave us a voice. So if there was anything that was going on with student government, some of the rules that was being made, some of the policies that was being implemented, we had a voice because they came to our organization to hear what we felt. So we felt like we were included in the growth and development of the school that we called our home. So I loved it. I think it birthed us.
Well, I know you went on to Jacksonville State, and so I like to think that for you and for many other people that Floyd College, Floyd Junior, and now Georgia Highlands has been the best possible beginning to an education.
It really was because, even with the public speaking part, we had to I took it with Judy Sims, and I used to think she was the meanest teacher that I had. But I didn't realize she was pushing me for greatness. And I had an opportunity to tell her that when I served alongside with her on the school board.
Right.
But I mean, I don't take for granted all the knowledge and expertise, even with Ruthie Lawler, Dr. Dr. McCorkle?
Dr. McCorkle was the
yes. President, yes, and all the great experiences. Because when we were down there, everybody got to know each other, and to me, we were like an extended family. We grew with each other, and there was not. You see them walking down the hall. We could sit in the cafeteria. They come in and sit down and talk to us. We was in the student activity center. Everybody was somebody down there at that time, and to me, it felt like a big extended family, and we watched all the growth and development. Because when I looked down, we used to hang out down at the pavilion, and you remember we used to have the parties down there, and that was when Thriller was out, and we had the nighttime parties down at the lake, and we had all the schools come out and support us, and it was our organization that was doing it. We're doing things in the community, giving back and sharing our experience about college as possible to everybody that was there. We went on field trips, and we got exposure from places that we got to attend places we couldn't normally go while we were here in Rome. But Floyd Junior College really exposed us to a lot. The student activity part, to the SGA, being a part of the Student Government Association. I was also served on there also, so that helped me to actually start looking at some political events.
So it all started there?
It all started there. That's why I say it birthed me. Yes, all my online knowledge started there. So when I actually transferred to Jacksonville State, I was ready.
Yeah. They didn't know what it hit.
They had no idea what hit them. They did. And I also received, I was elected homecoming queen for Jacksonville State University too. So that, everything that came from Floyd Junior College, which is now known as Georgia Highlands, prepared me for my next adventure and still preparing me for now. So.
Well, that's great to hear. And of course, we now have a number of bachelor's programs. So
yes, I love it.
It's possible for students to not transfer. I mean, they just stay right here and finish their bachelor's.
I like the fact that they partner with West Georgia College, so you can be a student at Georgia Highlands but still be on the University of West Georgia campus and Kennesaw.
Sure.
So I got excited about learning about those things too.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of growth.
Well, I do like to remember those days, because I mean it was I was a faculty member, junior faculty member, but it was a beginning for me as well in a lot of different ways. So I have very fond memories of that. And you keep in touch with some of those folks still?
I do. I really do. I said we have so much fun, like Tori Smith and my sister and Ed Trammell. That's what it was, Ed. You remember Ed?
Of course.
Yeah. So just when we all see each other, we reflect back on how when we were there, and how we all had voices, and how people listened, and we had an opportunity to make a difference. We got excited about that. But I got to brag on you, because your Brother to Brother program, you invited me to come in and sit down one time to actually observe what you guys do in the Brother to Brother program. And even though I felt like I was out of place, but in place, because I was in a room with a bunch of gentlemen, so I was but the knowledge and the power, you gave each one of those young men an opportunity to speak and to tell about their experiences. And one of the experiences was when you go into a store or you go into an establishment and you're the only one that looks like you in there, how does that make you feel? And when everybody in that room opened up and told about their experiences, you shared with them that, you got to own it when you walk in there. So when you came in, if you were somebody, before you walked in, if you were somebody, and when you were there, you were somebody, and when you left, you were somebody. And I'll never forget that. And all I kept saying is they got the right man with the plan in front of those gentlemen.
Well,
I
I
love
appreciate that.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that. And the support that we get for brother to brother at the college is and much appreciated. Much appreciated. And anytime you want to talk about Floyd Jr., just let me know.
Okay.
I was thinking about this because this was, I think, a few years after your time there, but Eric Mosley,
I do remember.
he and his sisters also attended, I think it was still Floyd College then, while they were involved with Black Awareness Society, they started at the time, informal kind of gospel group. They just got together for fun to sing, and they're still performing as a group. That's however many years later. And they had a reunion concert not too long ago.
Oh wow!
And they I think plan to do that periodically. So that's
amazing.
Yeah, that was pretty.
I want to tell you, we traveled because we used to go on a lot of field trips. And when I said exposure was everything, and we got to meet Alex Haley, and he was signing the book, the autograph. He was autographing all our the books that came out after Roots, and we were so excited about it because not only did we get to meet him, we also got to meet his wife. But he was so down to earth, and then the next year he had passed. So it was just so amazing that we got an opportunity to meet such a giant.
It was at Athens.
Yes, with the Athens, we did, and that was great. It was a great experience. I think we all cherished that part, just to say we got to meet the author and the person who wrote it, and was able to ask him some one-on-one questions and like, what inspired you after all this time to want to continue to make a difference? And he says, every day you live, you make a difference because that's why you're living. That's why God placed you here on this earth, to make a difference, and that stuck with me. And I just, every time I see the movie that comes out, even though it tells the history, the past, and the present, and I see how much we've grown, and I want to make sure that we continue to tell the story to make a difference in your community. So he was phenomenal. It was just a great opportunity, and if it wasn't for the Black Awareness Society, I don't think we would have had the opportunity to meet him during that time frame. But the exposure was everything.
Well, as I recall, that particular field trip, the organization knew he was speaking. I don't know how. I certainly didn't know.
Yes.
So I had the privilege of driving the van.
You
to get us
did.
there,
You got us
but,
there.
that was great.
It was a great opportunity. It was.
Well, you of course have been a key figure in Rome for quite a while. Both at the school board and now on the Rome City Commission. And I want to talk to you about some of that experience, but the thing that was on my mind most recently that I'm very curious about, and I've talked to our current students some about it, is why so few people seem to be voting now. I don't know the exact figure, but it seems like on the most recent election, it was like 12 or 13% of the registered voters. And I don't get that. I don't understand it fully.
I prayed about it, and I've talked to a lot of people, and I've watched the excitement, the thrill of making a difference is lingering. And when I say lingering, people look at the fact that, am I still struggling? Do I have opportunities for jobs? Do I have an opportunity for better housing? Do I have an opportunity to continue my education? Do I have an opportunity to be exposed to things outside of Rome? So when they look at the people that they have in leadership and they look like, how am I getting the exposure? How am I getting an opportunity to make a change in my life? Where is my help coming from? Where is the knowledge that everybody else has? Where's the best practices to help me better myself? If they're not feeling it because they're not receiving it, then they don't believe it, then they're not going to the polls.
Well, we're coming up on our break here. Let's continue that thread when we come back.
All right.
Lots more conversation with Rome City Commissioner Elaina Beeman. Do not go away. We'll be right back.
Access to me means I get to explore and define myself.
Access? That allows me to follow my passion.
For me, it means I get to do what I've always dreamed of doing, helping people.
Access to me means I'm the first one in my family to come to college. Sé el primero.
Welcome back to Community Watch. I'm having a conversation with Rome City Commissioner Elaina Beeman. And before the break, we were talking about voting and the I guess, discouragement people were feeling that maybe their votes
Didn't matter.
Didn't matter.
Didn't matter.
How is that going to change? How do we change that?
We've got a lot of people in individual communities that are doing things. We have a lot of nonprofits that are going in and doing a lot of stuff. But it's like we're not coming together to share our best practices, and every community benefits from it. Because you can see some communities are growing. You know, you see more people want to build houses there. You see the school systems are having to add on because everybody loves being in that community. But what about the communities that are not getting that type of attention? We've got a lot of dilapidated homes. We've got a lot of areas that we need code enforcement in. We've got some areas that we need some sidewalk improvements, or we need some sidewalks. There's a lot of things that are going on in some unprivileged communities that are crying out now saying, what about us? I mean, we want to elect people we want to get excited about the people who we elect. It says if one neighborhood suffers, then that hurts the city. And so when they don't see change, they're thinking, why go to the polls? I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
But it's hard when it takes all of us. But we've got to start now sharing best practices and nourishing underserved communities to make people know that we do care and that we want every community that represent Rome to feel like that there's no place like home. And that's the challenge that we have right now, is selling that idea.
So I guess at this point, I mean, the folks that are currently in office, it's partly on y'all to grow that sense that it makes a difference.
So just like I was talking about exposure and being able to, maybe if we couldn't take a bus of people to go and visit other communities, there are actually being with the Housing Authority and even with the City of Rome, we went to, in being part of Leadership Georgia, we went to visit other cities. And it's good to see where people were at and where they are now to give hope. We went to a place in Savannah, and they had an area where they had homeless veterans, and they built tiny houses for the homeless veterans, but it was like a row of like a community of veterans living in an area where people were going and providing community services for them. And then the veterans took ownership of where they lived, and they started contributing, planting flowers, planting trees. You see what I mean? Like we talked about our community garden.
Right.
Those are the type of activities or experiences that people in our community need to see, that there's hope for tomorrow. So sometimes we got to think outside the box and not do everything that's traditional, and let's do some things that's non-traditional, but selling the story. I mean, one person can't do it. We all have to be willing to do it, but we all have to be willing to make a change, do something different, not doing things traditional. And I think as long as we stay in a traditional setting and doing the things the old way, and not doing some things a new way by bringing in new voices, listening to some of our younger people.
Yeah.
A lot of young people right now are saying there's absolutely nothing for them to do in Rome outside of high school. You know, the football games, the basketball games, man, we're not even really supporting our colleges like we need to. And that's a little discouraging.
Yeah.
So if they don't see us, the leaders in the community, coming together and doing a whole lot more, then they're thinking, why bother?
Yeah.
And I get it. Mm-hmm.
You know, Rome City has, is it 9?
9 commissioners.
Commissioners.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the last time I counted, there were how many women on the commission?
That was 2, but now there's 1.
1.
And
That's an issue.
It
isn't
is.
It? I mean,
it is.
It's an issue because I mean, I haven't looked at the statistics for the population of
Mm-hmm.
Rome, but I'm guessing there are more women than men
Mm-hmm.
who live in Rome.
Mm-hmm.
So you would think there would be more women than men on the commission.
Mm-hmm. I work in an environment with the housing authority that there's more women that works in management in the around the public housing communities. There's more women that's managing offices. And when I go to the commission, there's only one woman that's sitting there. That one woman is me. And I think, what is the message that we're sending out? Is it a man's world? Do we take a back seat? Is it that it's overwhelming with the opportunities that you have to serve within the city? And it's really rewarding because Rome offers so much. It's so many opportunities that we have here, from the film, from the tourism, to the water, knowing about the water we're drinking, to knowing about how the city's actually run, traffic and transit. I've gained so much knowledge, and every day I try to share it with or expose the information that I have to the underprivileged, which is the housing authority, because I feel like that makes up a big population of Rome. And I try to get them to the table and try to get them to take advantages of opportunities, just like we did with the Black Awareness Society. But the thing is that you can bring the information to them, but you can't make them take it. So the thing is now changing the mindsets of that this is not our world, this is not our city. We've got to change the mindset that this is our city, and it's going to take all of us. One person can't change the world. Well, one person on this earth can't change the world, but there is one person who can change the world, and that's a higher power. But I don't want everybody to think that they got to put all the pressures on one person. Me and Greg used to talk about this all the time. And he used to tell me all the time, you have the power to influence. And I said, you have the power to influence. But can you imagine if we join forces with our powers together, how much in people we could influence? And he says, that's what I'm talking about. It's time for us to start having some uncomfortable conversations, get out of our comfort zone and start going into other areas that we don't call home, that is part of our home, because it's Rome. All roads lead to Rome. So I get it. I understand that. But it's going to take all of us, and it's going to take all the community leaders sitting down at the table together saying, where do we start next? Where do we go next? Where do you want me at next? What can I do to help you change your community? And I'm not sure if we're having those type of conversations, because if we are, more people will be at the polls.
Yeah. Well, I would love to see more women involved locally, because it just makes sense.
Because we're here. I mean, we're making a difference. We're serving. We're working. We're doing a whole lot. But it gets discouraging when women feel like that our voices doesn't really matter, that we're not important. Some people feel that way. Some people don't. Some people say that's not my expertise. I'm better behind the scenes than I am up front.
Nah. No, that's not the case. All right, so what are some of the things you're optimistic about, or some of the issues you see that need to be addressed right away? What do we need to know about to support
With edu-
support the city?
So right now, my biggest concern is that trying to get more people or more women in the workforce. We've got a lot of jobs coming, a lot of job opportunities coming, and I don't want the women to feel like that they can't go to work because they don't have childcare. We've got right now the housing. There's not a lot of affordable housing, so I'm seeing young girls at turning the age of 18, and some of them are even seniors in high school trying to get 2 jobs to go to work and still be in school. It's almost impossible to work 2 jobs and be in school and try to get your high school diploma. There's some young men right now who are paying child support who can't afford to help pay for other expenses because they're paying a lot of money towards child support, so they can't get cars to be able to, for transportation. I'm concerned about the fact that we don't have enough early learning schools here. So and people can't afford daycare, paying for your house, paying for your utilities based on the income that they have right now that they have to choose. So some kids, or the younger kids, are not getting that early learning by the time that they're kindergarten, when they're able to go to school for free, because they can't afford the daycare services. So a lot of moms are not going to work because if they have to choose between losing, some of them have Section 8 programs that help them with their rental assistance. And if they have to choose between losing that Section 8 and increasing in the job, they're letting the jobs go, or they won't even take the promotion. And that is a great concern because it's really hurting. It's hurting our city because there's opportunities there that people in our own city won't be able to take advantage of right now because they're afraid that they'll lose out of their comfort zone and can't afford the lifestyles that they're entitled to.
Well, what's the solution to that? Is it the salaries are too low to sustain folks, or I mean, what's the best?
So right now, I think the fair market value for the area that we're in right now, we definitely need to look at that with our constituents, because Floyd County numbers are so low that we're not increasing them with the new cost of living or the advances that are coming in people's salaries. Because right now, the median income is a lot lower than what the increase in the salaries are, and that is a concern because I look at the other cities like Atlanta and Nashville and different areas right there. Their cost of living is so high, but the income matches it. Here, it's a different story. So we're growing, and our median income is growing fast. It's growing at a faster rate, but all of those areas need to be looked at right now because it's crippling the people who really want to make a difference, who want to make a difference in their lives and change for the better. Everybody wants to grow. Everybody wants to make money. But they don't want to be penalized because they feel like they got to choose between having a car to be able to transport themselves around, or being able to pay their utilities, or choosing between putting their kids in child care or sports. And that's really discouraging to watch that.
Well, that's kind of a broad range of issues that are all kind of hitting up on one another to cause issues. I gather for young folks that want to own their own place, it's nearly impossible for them to afford it.
Well, there's not really a lot of affordable housing here. Even the first-time home buyers, where are the houses at to be able to purchase them? Right now, everything has $1,000, $2,000, $150,000, $300,000, and that's not even in their price ranges. So if the first-time home buyer, HUD housing right now, a lot of people are looking for those too. But then you have maybe one family might have 6 people in the household, and you're only going to get 2 bedrooms and maybe 1 bath, or 3 bedrooms and 1 bath. So it makes sense to them to stay in the affordable housing that has the 3 and 4 bedrooms that's affordable to their budget. So at the time when the kids grow up and they go off to school, or they go to work themselves, or they move next door to the next apartment that comes available. I mean, it's got to change the mindsets, and we got to expose them to greater, and give them opportunity to see that there is a growth pattern, but it's going to take all of us to do this. It's a lot.
We are out of time.
Oh, wow.
Well, Elaina Beeman, thank you so much for being with us. And I know that folks need to reach out to you as our commissioner or one of our commissioners and let you know ideas and concerns. So
It is.
and come back. Hope you can come back and talk.
It will
some
be
more.
my pleasure.
We
to
just
come
got
back.
started, really.
Yes, we did.
Well, thanks.
Thank
and
you.
thank you for being with us, and
All
we'll
right.
see you next time on Community Watch.